It's been exactly 2 weeks since I set up my IKEA greenhouse cabinet. It's been fully functioning with plants in there, but I immediately started to have malfunctions. Other than the flickering light we found out about immediately, there's other things that aren't working the way I hoped they would or expected them to. So I'm gonna show you what those are and what I'm doing to hopefully fix them. But either way, I wanna be super transparent in this whole process and show you exactly how I set it up, any issues that I ran into, what I'm doing to troubleshoot, and just all of it. So in case you also want to set up a greenhouse cabinet, hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for you because it's a project. I will say worth it. I love it so far, and it's only been 2 weeks, so it's hard to say really the super plant benefits yet. However, I do love the way that it looks, and I know that that controlled environment is great for the plants, so I do love it, and I'm even considering getting a second cabinet. By the way, welcome, I'm Claudia. Before we get into the cabinet, let's get right into it. The very first thing I noticed nearly immediately was the hygrometer I placed inside the cabinet was significantly different than the hygrometer outside the cabinet, and different in that it had way less humidity percentage reading. So if my hygrometer in my room was showing, say, 55% humidity, inside the cabinet it was showing like 38, 41. So very, very different. I also noticed it was having huge fluctuations in the reading. So in the mornings it would be like 55, midday it would drop to 30 and 40, and then in the evening it might stabilize a little bit again around the 55 or 60, which I just found it to be odd because I feel like I did a pretty good job at weather stripping. So for it to have such huge fluctuations didn't sit right. I'll add some footage in the screen, but basically what I did was I placed my regular room hygrometer inside the cabinet next to it to see what the differences were, and the differences were a lot. It was about 15 to 20% off all the time. The one from my room was always reading much higher than the new one. After about a day or two of that, I decided I was just gonna buy 2 more hygrometers and place all 4 in the cabinet and then just see which 2 synced up. None synced up. They were all giving me different readings at different times of the day. And the humidity was fluctuating on all of them, but not nearly as much as on the original that I planned to put in the cabinet. So off the bat, I felt like there was something off or faulty with it. It was very inexpensive, I think under $7, but it's also the same brand of the one that I've always used in my bedroom. Needless to say, there was something up. I left all 4 hygrometers in the cabinet for about a week. Like I said, they all continued to give me different readings. There were 2 that were giving me the most similar, even though they were still a little off. But there was one in particular that always kind of seemed to be the average between all 4. So that's the one I decided to keep in the cabinet. And it's still driving me a little crazy that I feel like it's probably not 100% accurate, but like, then what's accurate? I have no idea. But nonetheless, I do not recommend the very first one that I initially purchased and that I put in my first video, and I did update the description on that because I don't feel, and I could have gotten a faulty one, but nonetheless, it was just not reliable. So now let me show you what's going on in the cabinet. That is one of the vertical lights that has fallen off. The adhesive simply just didn't stick. This is another vertical light that fell off. Same issue with the adhesive. And same issue with this light over here. I am having a little bit of trouble understanding why this happened on some of them and not all of them. This one is hanging in there just fine. I don't remember if I shared this in my first video, but I ended up adding one here, and that one's hanging on just fine. This top one with the magnets is hanging on just fine. However, the back one where I zip tied the little fan power box did not stay either. The adhesive fell off, and I assume that that maybe had to do with the weight that was on the light. So I went ahead and I zip tied it. Let me open so you can see. So I used zip ties to hold this light in place, and I think that it works just fine and it's nice and seamless. Temperature is pretty consistent here, high 70s, low 80s, and for the most part, humidity has been above 55, and when I first water plants, it does reach like high 80s, which is great. I would love for humidity to be consistent above 70% if I could do that. But so, I mean, okay, so it's not terrible, but definitely some things to fix. So let me show you what my plans are to fix this. Oh, I forgot to show you one other thing. This, the cord management clip back there, also the adhesive never stuck, and that was later on the same night I put it together, it kept falling off. Which is my plan now for the adhesive part, and to try to make things stick is I am going to use Loctite. This is what I used on my propagation tubes on my plant wall over on the other side, and they are super strong. It does take a whole day to cure, so I'm not excited about that part because they're gonna have to hang there for a minute, and it might make it a little hard for me to know exactly where I'm applying this on the cabinet versus the light, but I'm gonna do my best. And I also decided I'm gonna use these tiny magnets that I also used on the propagation tubes, because even full of water, this holds them just fine, and these will hopefully better be able to stick to that small little paneling on the corners, versus the other ones are a little bit wider, so maybe that's also why they're not sticking correctly. I'm just really trying to troubleshoot here and make things happen. I'm gonna start by doing this first, since it's gonna take a whole day to cure. I won't be able to show you today the final product on that. And then we'll move on into a little bit of cord management. I'm gonna replace that top light that never worked, and I'm also gonna add another vertical light on the top section on the right-hand side. So let's go. now, I am gonna wait, I think at least a week so that I can update you, and we'll see if that Loctite adhesive actually worked this time. I'm so glad to have that functioning upper light. I really felt it was missing, and so glad to finally have added that other vertical light on the top section. So that's a little nice. I have been debating as to whether I do want to add a second fan on that first shelf for the bottom section. I'm wondering if the one fan for that whole bottom section is enough. I don't know. I've been thinking about that, but I feel like that's an easy fix. Because the adhesive takes 24 hours to cure, this is going to be kind of a multi-day process. So today I attached the magnets to the lights that I was replacing the original adhesive, and then tomorrow about this time, or maybe even the next morning, that I'm going to attach the magnet onto the actual cabinet, just to give it plenty of time to cure, so that when it does have the weight of the light, which is actually pretty light, it stays and I don't run into these issues, hopefully, that I ran the first time around. Okay, so I will be back in about a week or so and update you, and hopefully it worked. I'm back. It's been about a week and a half, 9 days maybe. I'll note it on the screen exactly what the dates were since I last made adjustments to the cabinet with the adhesive, changed the hygrometer, and just the way that the lights were being attached. Really, it was the adhesive on the cord management and on the lights. I'm happy to report everything seems to be staying intact. I did allow the full 24 hours for the adhesive to cure before I tried placing anything like on the magnets or even on the cord management before I added the cords and the cover back onto them, just so that there wasn't any pressure on the adhesive that could potentially prevent it from curing properly or moving, or, you know, who knows. I can't really say that the little magnets are stronger than the bigger magnets I was using. I really just think that this was an adhesive problem, and again, because of where the little bump outs come out, where the screws are supposed to go in the spine and in the corners, I think that that was preventing the adhesive from really sticking flush on that surface, and so really it was only sticking to wherever those little bumps were. So with this new method, I made sure that wherever I applied a magnet, it was like flush on the actual metal part of the cabinet or the spine part of the cabinet, versus just kind of where it was landing before. So again, I really think that this was an adhesive issue, not so much that the magnets weren't strong. I know for sure that the adhesive that came with the cord management was crap. So if you're doing this yourself, do yourself a favor and get something else that's going to be stronger and hold up better. I didn't hear anybody talk about how that adhesive didn't work. It certainly could have saved me a lot of time. For now, I think the cabinet is officially done. All weather stripped, all cord managed, all the lights I want are in there. I'm happy with the hygrometer decision that I made. Everything seems to be staying in place. So I'm excited now to really monitor better and see how the plants respond to that environment. The only other thing I have to say right now is that while humidity does seem to have stabilized a little bit, the second I open the doors, it drops a lot. I want to say 15% or more, but I guess maybe that's normal. Let me know what else you want to know about the greenhouse cabinet, my setup, why maybe I chose to do things the way that I did, or just any questions or any other content related to the greenhouse that you want to see. I do want to come back in a couple of months and give you an update on how everything is holding up, how the plants are responding, etc. And probably at that point, I'll be able to better say, was this worth it or not? Even though I do think it looks beautiful. So aesthetics, check. That was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video and or found it helpful. Hope you'll give me a thumbs up and hope you'll subscribe so you can be notified when I upload new videos. I'll see you soon.